Hello, everyday leaders. Tonight is Wednesday, November the 25th. We're back. I just joined you a few hours earlier and we talked to Stephen and Donna Fry about 366 days of connection. Oh my goodness, weren't they so cute? So they're enjoying their day in Australia. But tonight we're continuing our efforts on gratitude for Thanksgiving. And I want to remind you, if you have not gone to Sunday's viewing on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn with Diane Dick to look at the Thanksgiving virtual games. Oh my gosh, those are so much fun. You can do them with your families tomorrow. And then we had Nathan Schultz, and we talked about elevate your purpose. And then last night, Jeff Hancher talked about his group, the Champion Forum, which unbelievable, right? Dropped bombs of gold all night long. So go back and listen to those. And then I wanted to bring on somebody that I met this last year through my inner circle and I just adore. And so Steve Gamlin, the motivational firewood guy, is here to share his journey with us and see what's going on. So, Steve, thank you for coming on tonight.
Oh, Melanie, thank you so much. The feeling is very, very mutual. I mean, gosh, if people don't have someone like you to just plug in energy and share with, whether we're online or offline, on camera or off, you and I have just had some of my most treasured conversations of this year. And I appreciate you very, very much.
Oh, ditto. I remember the first time we had a conversation, we were like, did we record that?
I know. I think I recall saying, I think we just did the show. So yeah. I don't know if one of us remembered to hit record or not, but if not, hey, we'll all come back and do it again.
Exactly. I'm like, you know what? When you just love what you do and you show up, and for us, broadcasting junkies, I love your history because, as you say, I was not in front of the microphone for many, many years. And then all of a sudden, here it is. I'm doing this. Yeah. And so that's kind of the story and the journey, right? You end up where you're supposed to be. That's what I love just about connecting to people like you, because we've got a lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah,
a lot to talk about.
We do. There's been a lot going on this year. I say good and bad. It's really fortunate and stuff that was maybe a little challenging, but as always, you and I, we just pan for gold. We find the good, we move on, we just keep climbing higher.
Exactly. And I've had COVID updates, right, from everybody. My little lion here is from Greg Storch that lives in Italy. He's been giving us COVID updates all year because, they're about 5 weeks ahead. And we did this gratitude. He did 100 episodes on his Lion's Roar, the weekly roar, the Lion's Den. And so he brought us in on a panel of consistency. And then afterwards, he sent us these little gifts. I have like a canvas and I have this and a little bracelet. And so I thought, that's the roar that I need every day for confidence, right? So I'm going to put him on my microphone.
Nice. Oh, perfect.
So that's Greg. And people that know him were like, yeah, that's Greg. But that's the connection, right? You find that one thing that really gives a spark in your heart so that you can remember people. And especially this time of year, we're talking about gratitude, all those things that we go back and treasure in our memories and say, I am who I am today because. And so, Steve, if people haven't listened to our podcast together and they haven't followed you before, give us a little history on what ignites your soul.
Yeah. It goes back to what first got me into the radio industry in the early 90s. It was a goal I'd had since I was 8-9 years old when I saw this guy named Dr. Johnny Fever on WKRP in Cincinnati, playing records, wearing jeans, wore sunglasses indoors, which I just thought was so cool, and played records and got paid for it. And I wanted to do that someday, but I also wanted to be a teacher, but not in a classroom traditional setting. And in my early 20s, a friend of mine kept asking me why I never followed my dream of being on the radio. So I went and did it. And that friend passed away a few weeks after I got my first job. Mm. And I was on the radio for 10 years. And as you alluded to, I was a producer. I was a writer. I was all these other things other than on air because I was so shy and not confident.
You?
So, I know, right?
Right.
Seriously, if you knew me back then, you'd be like, no way are you doing this now. But at the end of the 10 years, I blew my life up in every phase. I was just fried and burnt out. And then one day, hitting golf balls in a thunderstorm under power lines, barefoot in the wet grass, daring the storm to hit me, just hitting golf balls to get out frustrations from all the things I'd caused to run my life off the rails. Quit my radio career, was going through a divorce, was $62,000 in debt at age 35. And I shared the story of me hitting golf balls in a thunderstorm, barefoot in the wet grass, and everybody else ran from the storm, and I hit all their golf balls too, with my life coach. And he thought it was so funny. He just asked, have you ever thought of being a motivational speaker or a stand-up comedian? And within a few weeks, I was following the path to do both. Did stand-up for 7 years. I've been speaking now for almost 17 years. And here we are. So everything that I wasn't in my younger years, confident, authentically using my voice, had to go do that radio thing for a while. Now I also get to be the teacher I wanted to be in a non-traditional setting. So I get to take the purest version of me that's ever lived, get on camera, get behind a microphone, get up on stages, and just be. Mm-hmm. And it's perfectly all right, because I've got people who dig it, people who don't. That's great. But what I want to be for people is what my friend did for me, is to help them believe in themselves. Through my stories, my coaching, the vision board work that I do, one-on-one shows like yours, and somebody hears, oh my gosh, that's what my life is like. I want to learn more from him, how he got to find his authentic self. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to be in the shadows. Now I speak toward the shadows. And mm-hmm. I just hope that a little bit of light finds the people that are there, because it can be a lonely, scary place to be there and to not be able to find those little cracks of light that get through.
Mm-hmm. And your whole platform is Motivational Firewood. I want you to tell people how that started.
Yeah, it was a real simple conversation at my very first meeting in New England with the National Speakers Association. You know, here I am, this, punk kid of, 37, 38 years old, come walking in, and some guy goes, Steve, what do you speak on? I said, I'm a motivational speaker. And he goes, well, that narrows it down to about 1 billion of you. What sets you apart? I said, I want to inspire people. And he goes, okay. What makes you different? And I go, I really care. He goes, lateral move. What, and he was being good natured about it. And he just started asking questions. And he said, well, what's going to set you apart? And I said, well, here's what I want. I said, everybody's got this idea of a goal or a way they want to improve their lives. I said, even if it's the tiniest spark in their heart, they want something better. If I can share a story or a lesson or a speech or an article or a radio show or a video that gives them an idea of an action they can take to take that little spark and add something to it to make it brighter, I said, I'm kind of like motivational firewood, I guess. And he says, do you know anything about trademarks? And I said, not a thing. And he goes, that's actually really good. He said, I would definitely, you're onto something. It wasn't perfected yet. But he says, that's a really cool idea, because you're not telling them what success is all about. They kind of know what they want to do, but they don't have the resources, the confidence, the knowledge, the skills, the whatever, to actually go for it. He said, if you can give them that and work together, he goes, that's really cool. Mm-hmm. So I went out and did a little research and dropped about $1,000 on the trademark for Motivational Firewood, and I've owned it ever since.
Mm-hmm. That's such a cool story. Just thinking about, like, somebody else can see what you don't, and that's your whole process of your vision boarding, right? If you can see it, you can do it. And so many people talk about this, but if you experience it, if you allow yourself to go through that process, it really does. It can change you.
Yeah. Oh, big time. And we always say see with the vision, but my whole thing is to get people to attach as many of their senses as possible to their goal. So I even ask people, I'm like, what do your goals look like, feel like, sound like, even smell like? Mm-hmm. And they go, what do you mean smell? I said, well, what type of a goal do you want? And there was a woman at a speaking event one time. I said, does anybody have a car they'd like to own? And this little hand went up in the back of the room, and she was in her mid-60s at the time. She says, my retirement car. I said, okay, what kind of car? She goes, 74 Corvette. And everybody's looking at her like they've worked alongside her for years. And I said, what color? She said, bright orange. I said, convertible or hardtop? And she goes, convertible. I want to go to the beach. I said, seats, cloth or leather? And she goes, oh, honey, leather. And I said, all right, who's going to be playing in the stereo on your way to the beach? She goes, oh, baby, Elvis. So I said, okay, we have a bright orange 74 Corvette convertible, wants to listen to Elvis, and she wants to smell leather seats. And I just went, and I saw these smiles all around the room. And I said, see, that's what visualization is all about. It's not just what does it look like. I mean, it's a start, but when you can attach all your senses and weave them in to your goals. I mean, that was the conversation. That actually was about 8 or 10 years ago. Mm. And I just got to relive it because it's attached to all my senses. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do with my clients.
Mm. And that is so powerful, because if you just sit there and you write about something, unless you're really intentional and you're saying, okay, I'm going to journal about this. But if you think you can experience it, that's the thing, right? That's the change. That's the key. And that's going to keep you accountable to the action for the vision. And so now what do you do, right? You have all this information. And so then you got to figure out how to take the next step to get to that goal. And that really does keep you focused, because you can taste it, hear it, smell it, and see it.
Yeah. And always remember why you want it, like the really deep seated reason, because, we've talked to people over the years. Oh, I'm going to get healthier. It's the new year. And, I want to, what is it? I want to be happier, healthier, and make more money. And people write January 1st, 2021. And at the end of the year, when they're like, what's that yellow piece of paper hanging out from under the lamp, keeping it from tilting? They pick it up. It's got like salsa on it and the pizza guy's number, and they unfold it. And they go, oh, it's my resolutions.
Oops.
I know. 2022. Ta-da. Mm-hmm. See, they didn't remember why they wanted these things, or even how to define them, or what they looked like, felt like, sound like, smelled like, and all that. I mean, I in 2017, and I found this in a gratitude journal the other night during an interview. I opened it up and I said, what is MBNS? And why are there so many entries that mention it? And why does each one have a number? What's it counting? And then I remembered that year, I wanted to do at least 100 workouts. I wanted to go to the gym at least 100 times in a year, because I'd never done it before. And somebody said, well, you need to give it a mission and a message. I said, it was going to be called, and I hope this is okay to say, the Man Boobs Not Sexy Workout Tour of 2017. It had its own logo. It had its MBNS, its own hashtag. And I would take pictures of the sign at the gym to prove I'd been there. And it became this whole movement. And I did 104 workouts that year, which is double what I had ever done in a year before. And I felt good. And there's a McDonald's in the parking lot of the gym. And every day when I'd get to the light at the end of the parking lot, I gave it the McFinger, because I'd say, I'm eating healthy today. You can't have me as much as I love your fries. But it just became part of, because it was so ingrained in my mission and the vision and everything, that it was the greatest goal I achieved all that year.
Wow.
Because
mindset,
I remember
right?
why.
It's your mindset. And when you shift from that, it really is a little bit easier. Not easy, but it's easier, because you see that why on your heart, right? You know that there's a bigger purpose. Now, for people that are saying, now I need to add value, I need to create significance, I need to go to that next level, right? That's where you get to next. And so tell me about your process. So when you said, okay, this is my why, I want to be a speaker and I want to go inspire people, and I've got Motivational Firewood, what's the significance that you're reaching for?
Helping people to understand that I'm a regular everyday guy who figured out what he really loves most in life, and that's helping other people. And that the stories, everything I share, I lived through. And I'm not a guru. Matter of fact, that word makes me want to throw up in my mouth a little bit. And I always over exaggerate the hand quotes when I say that. Authentic, genuine, real. And what I bring is just a very back to basics message of positivity with a lot of humor, to just get people to understand that they have all the tools. Really, if they don't have them themselves, they can reach out to somebody to go for what they want and understand why they want it. And as they're achieving it, to understand that they're inspiring everybody around them. If they have kids, if they have a family, everybody around them is looking at them as the example. They get to be the hero by following their goals
Wait,
and
say
honestly
that
believing
again.
they deserve it.
Wait a minute, say that again, because that's really important, right?
Yeah.
Everybody around you is watching you and getting inspired.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's your inspire. I'm going to share this real quick because I just love your website. But this is the nuts and bolts, and then wait, is this one? Oh, where's your inspire one? Oh, well, I've got this one up here. So,
Yep.
but this is all your brand. But you do have that. You hold that license plate, and it says inspire. And so,
Yeah.
that's what I think about when I think of you, Steve. Since we've met, I think every time I say the word inspire, I see Steve with this license plate because I visualize that because you've created that space in my mind. So now every single person, right? If they think of what that looks like, who that person is, what that last statement was, you could say the same things that they've heard a million times, but now you've said it tonight and they've connected to something because it's the right time. When they say when the student is ready, the teacher appears, right?
Yep.
So now you can be that teacher that you've always desired to be. And,
Yeah.
oh, hey, Lachelle, America's Supermom is here watching us too.
Oh, I adore
Good
Lachelle.
evening. Good
I
evening, my
do.
friend. I think she was the one that connected us.
I believe so.
Yes.
I believe so.
Thank you, Lachelle. This has been a wonderful connection. A wonderful connection.
I agree.
Authentic people, right? That's our tribe.
Yeah.
That's our tribe.
It is. And see, here's the thing. I mean, in our industry, in the personal development world, there's so many people out there who cannot be authentic. Oh my gosh. They have this wall of perfection built all around them. Everything needs to be crisp and perfect and perfectly tailored and just everything about it. And it just reeks of plastic. And I was talking with somebody the other day and I was coaching her. She's a speaker. She's been at this a long time. Now, because of COVID, she's not able to be on the road. She's been a road warrior for the last 15, 20 years. She's now learning to find herself and her confidence authentically from the waist up on Zoom calls. And she's really doing a great call. But at first, she was worried, is the lighting perfect? Is the background perfect? Is the microphone perfect? Is my camera perfect? And I said, I'll tell you what, here's a link. I want you to go watch. It's me being perfectly imperfect in my most viral Facebook Live video, standing in my driveway in a blizzard, looking like a drowned rat with snot running down my face and tears coming out of my eyes after bringing my trash cans to the curb, talking about how we should be helpful to homeless veterans in the middle of winter. I said, go watch that. You know what my lighting was? I had to keep waving my arm for the garage light, motion detector light to come on.
Exactly.
I said, and I actually had to do the Facebook Live twice because there was so much snow on the screen of my phone. When I went to sign off, I deleted the video instead of hitting save.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in the house and I looked in the mirror and I said, well, we can do one of three things. We can do nothing because now nobody knows it even existed. I can go take a shower, come down, set up the lights, set up the camera, look nice, and deliver the message again. Or I can go back out in the darn storm.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, I'll run through it a second time. That way I won't get emotional, right? Nope. And it looked like hell. And in 11 days had almost 9,000 views.
Wow.
But better than the views was the amount of people who sent me comments saying, Steve, hey, man, I saw that video of you in your driveway. So I called the homeless shelter this week and I brought them some pillows, some blankets, some boots, some sweatshirts, some socks. That's what it's all about. It's not numbers. It's not image. It's impact.
That's right. Oh,
we're regular, everyday people who chose to do and get to do something that makes us really, really happy. But I want people to understand that they're a hero to somebody in their world. Somebody's looking up to them, and they need to live up to their best potential self every single day because there's always eyes and a brain and a heart watching, and we just need more heroes than ever before.
man, that is what an everyday leader is. That is exactly right. Because if we believe we can do something, we actually can. And then we have the power to change the world that we live in. And I encourage people every day, do that 1% thing, that 1% thing that's in your heart to help you compound that 37% after 365 days. Do that. You can't get a return on that from anything in your life. Why not give it to you? Why not give it to your gifts? Why not to give it so that you can show up and help people in the world? Everybody says, like you said in the beginning, I want to be a motivational speaker. I want to inspire people. I want to help people. I think that's what all of us have inside of us. And at some point you go, okay, well, what are you going to do about that? Right? Because you can do it in your own unique way. Whatever background you've come from, you have a story, you have a purpose, you have connections that can help you get to the next level. So when you decide that you're ready to take that big step and then create the vision for it, that's where it all starts. And then you just have to, feed your soul. Stop feeding your fears and feed your faith. And then you can do anything in this world.
Yeah. And you don't have to wait until there's a stage for you to be on. I mean, heck, we met really through connections on social media. Go out on social media every day, hit like on somebody's picture that they took, leave a nice comment, cheer someone on. I mean, there are people every day celebrating things on there. You don't have to know these people other than to just say, hey, that's awesome. Hey, I'm proud of you. And just, well, you never know what somebody needs on a particular day, because everybody is so honest about their life every day on social media. People put up all these images of great success, and it's like, there are days I'm having a bad day. What do? I go on social media at the end of the day and say, I was having a bad day today. And I shared it with a friend. Here's what a friend did for me. And then I felt better. So I went out and cheered on somebody else. And at the end of the day, I wound up with this really cool article about it, talking about how my day could have just gone in the toilet. But I tried to be authentic and vulnerable enough to admit that my life's not perfect. And every time, if I have a pain or a struggle, I've got this really tight group of people who've got my back, and they reach out and they ask. And I just try to be that for other people too. And that's why even when I go to the store, like now everybody's got the masks on and all that, and I don't judge either way. I mean, I choose to wear one because it's right for me. And whenever I go, say, to the deli counter at the grocery store, this one person who has this thing that says Spaceballs, the mask from the movie Spaceballs.
It's my favorite.
And I say the same thing every time. I go, that is the coolest mask I've seen all day. And even though they got the mask, the eyes crinkle up because I know they're smiling under there. And I love that. That, you almost have to work harder than ever to really pick people up, but it is so worth it, especially because they're going to be dealing with negative energy throughout the day.
And it's free.
And I always walk away better. I just do. I mean, I walk away from somebody and I just feel better having left a smile in my wake. And now, because then they get to share that smile with the next person who might be having a bad day. And it's a really great chain. If you think about it.
Tell me about Teddy. People that don't know Teddy.
Super Teddy.
Something that was really your soulmate. Was so hard to watch you go through that. But I know here we're Thanksgiving, we're giving thanks for so many things.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about Super Teddy?
Sure. Super Teddy, for anybody who was thinking was a human, he was about as close as you can get. Super Teddy was love in a fur coat. He was a little Yorkie Pomeranian, weighed all of about 9 pounds. And he was actually a rescue that my wife and her mom adopted about 11 years ago. And he and I were best buds. And we actually wrote a book together 9 years ago. It was called Bust Out of Your Crate, Super Teddy's Top 20 Tips for People to Be as Happy as Dogs. And my mother-in-law's favorite line was always, she would roll her eyes and say, okay, he has a book. Yeah. He has a series of postcards based on the book. Yeah. He's been in 2 fundraising calendars. Yeah. He has his own webpage and a Facebook page. Yeah. How many more ways can you pimp out my dog? And that was always our favorite line over and over and over for 11 years. Well, Teddy passed away very unexpectedly and suddenly, May 31st of this year. And I was absolutely devastated. But here's the thing. There was such an outpouring of love from, everyone who ever met him loved him. Everyone was a friend. And it was such an outpouring of love that it was just such a blessing to have had him in my life for a little over a decade. And everything we had created The morning after he passed, we saw this news update on social media, on Facebook. There was a baby giraffe born at the Virginia Zoo the morning after Teddy passed away. One of Teddy's favorite toys, I actually have one of them over there here in the studio, was a giraffe with a squeaker in it. And I've got dozens of pictures of him with his giraffe. And then the article said, hey, we need a name for the baby giraffe. We need you to submit ideas. And I went, all right, visualization exercise. I said, I'm going to walk my talk here. See it, be it, do it. I want this giraffe to be named Teddy. So that's the see it. Be it. I need to become the person that I need to be and reach out to all the right people to be able to make it happen, and then do it, take action. Mm-hmm. So I sent them a message. I sent them, I think, $10. I said, I would like to submit the name Teddy. Then I shared it all over social media, and everybody who knew Teddy, who was so brokenhearted, went in and voted for him. He made the top 5 a week later of the names. And then they said, here's how we're going to name the giraffe. They had 5 zoo volunteers, each with a name of the top 5 on their backs, and they each held out a branch. And the father of the baby giraffe would come into the enclosure. Whatever branch he touched first was the name of his son. And I watched it live, bawling my eyes out. And he came over and he went to the one next to it, and he went over and he bit the leaf off the Teddy branch. And then he went to the second one. So they combined the names. So 10 days after we lost my best little friend in the world, a baby giraffe named Teddy Acacia got its name at the Virginia Zoo, live on Facebook. And then you probably aren't even aware of this. A week or two later, I reached out to our local TV news station. They did a whole feature story about it.
Aww.
And they aired it. And I've watched it again a couple times. And I get so emotional. And I'm just thinking, I have the little giraffe over there every day. Mm-hmm. But it was such a blessing to have this little dude who was just, like I said, love in a fur coat. And people still ask me about him all the time. Mm-hmm. And yesterday, one of his favorite things to do is we have the ice chip thing in our refrigerator door. Whenever he heard that go on, he would come running into the kitchen and just look down, waiting for ice chips to fall. Yesterday, 2 ice chips skipped over the glass and hit the floor. Aww. And it made me smile because it made me think of him. I'm like, oh, my little ice dude would be here just looking for those ice chips and just munching away.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that what it's about? You know, creating those memories, especially right now. It's like, we don't know how much time we have. It's COVID. If you get the disease, you could be affected differently than anybody else, right? And so this whole year, I think, has taught us so many things. And poor Teddy was, he didn't survive through all of this either. And so the pain that we feel, the grief that we have, it's for so many things in our life. We've lost the ability to do work like we're used to doing. And then the people and the animals that were part of our family, if we've lost them, it's really changed the way we have to show up, and we have to have so much gratitude, and we have to remember, those good things and those good times, because that's what it's about. It's making those memories today so that we can appreciate that. And that's what gratitude's about, right? Mm-hmm. Having that grateful heart to say, I got to experience that.
Yeah. And I always suggest for people to dial it in. Don't broad brush it. Don't say, I'm thankful for my health, my job, my home, or whatever. I was on an interview last night, and I asked the host, I said, what's your favorite room in your house? And she said the name. I said, why? She goes, well, it's got this. I said, well, what do you have for decorations? And she started to laugh. This favorite thing that's on her desk that makes her laugh every day. I said, okay, so don't be thankful for your house. Be thankful for that funny thing on your desk, because that way tomorrow, because you can't just say, I'm thankful for my house again. I said, you find something else in your house that brings you joy or inspires you or makes you happy. I said, dial it in. And I said, I've been keeping a gratitude journal for 8.5, almost 9 years. And I write down 3 moments a day. I do it first thing in the morning. My 3 favorite moments from yesterday were, and the weirder, the better. But don't broad brush it. Don't say, I'm thankful for my health. Well, okay, what did you do today with your health? Did you go for a walk? Did you go for a bike ride? Did you just feel really good? Was your breathing great? Are you just happy? Do you have really good color? What? Dial it in with your gratitudes, because the more different things you can state at the end of the year. I mean, gosh, I got a journal over there that has 3 years worth of stuff in it. It's got several thousand gratitudes. And I write them in less than a line each.
Mm-hmm.
But I write them in such a way that even a couple of years later, when I look at it, I'm right back there. I can tie in the emotion of it and feel joyful.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the midst of everything going on now, I can look back and say, grateful for that moment. And it puts me in a real good place. That's why I do it first thing in the morning.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, when you said that, I thought about some of my guests have talked about, the thank you cards that you get. And so right now at Thanksgiving and Christmas, you might want to go to that drawer if you have that, those notes, and pull those out, because that's gotten a lot of people through, just the ability to do that when you can't be with your family. So a lot of people can't travel this year, even if we, here in Indiana, we're only able to get 5 or less people together. And so, for our big family, it's going to be really tough. Everybody's going to go into their own little pods. Uh,
Yeah.
but the thing is, you can still show gratitude. Zoom, everybody's getting zoomed out, but it's still that power of connection. You still need to show up for each other and try to make some kind of a memory, right? It's not the
Mm.
same, but it's still a memory. And I think it's really important, because you can laugh about it. Go and watch Diane's creative virtual games, have a scavenger hunt with your kids. Get the kids running around looking for articles, and make those memories last, because next year it's probably not going to be like this. You're probably going to be packing your Christmas presents and traveling across the United States, going to grandma's house for Thanksgiving. Uh,
Yeah.
and it'll be back to kind of what we think normal is. So
Mm.
this year's really special. You get to design it how you see it. And that's why I love having you on tonight, the night before Thanksgiving, because we need to visualize what it can look like and how we can bring joy and happiness into everything for the rest of the year.
Yeah. And I think too, like you said, and I really want to stress this. You talk about people being zoomed out and electronic and trying to unplug. Hey, go to the store and get a postcard. And when was the last time you had sent somebody a legit, real postcard, or a regular card, or you just go find a greeting card that's funny or silly? Or one thing I love to do, and I can do this on social media or I can do it on a regular phone, is call someone that I haven't talked to in a while, hope that they don't answer, and leave my funniest, happiest, crazy memory of the two of us on their voicemail. Every single time I've done this, I've gotten a call back. And I always remember my best friend. I was having a really rough day, and I called his number because I knew he couldn't pick up. And I told the story about crazy things we did working together at a hospital kitchen when we were 18 years old. And I shared that story, the funniest one, jumping down full flights of stairs trying to race the elevators. And he called me that night and he said, "Brother, how did you know I needed that today?" He said, "I had a horrible day at work. I listened to that 3 times, laughed so hard I cried. Thank you, man."
Mm-hmm.
But see, it's connection. It's let people hear you and feel your voice and feel your joy and your emotions, and be authentic with it all. And be joyful when you do that. And sometimes I do it on social media on my phone, because in Facebook, in the messenger, you can leave an audio message.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that a lot. If I'm waiting for a video file here in the recording studio to buffer or to render, I'll just go, all right, who haven't I talked to in a while? And I'll scroll through and I'll just leave a silly message for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time they reach out and go, "Oh my gosh, I was thinking of you today," and there you were. "I was having a bad day," there you were. Or just whatever. "I needed a smile today," there you were.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't
Everybody
take
needs a
much.
smile.
It doesn't take much, right? When you receive it, you think, wow, that was really thoughtful. And if you think about doing it, do it, right?
Yeah.
If you even
Yeah.
glimpse a thought of it, because you don't know how much time we have here. And it's really important. It's really important to step forward into that. Because I'll tell you what, Steve, when I realized that how powerful that is, it's that clarity, right? That you decide, wow, how can I be more consistent with those things? And then that really shows up in so many other ways in your life. And so I want to encourage people, just the things that you've talked about tonight are really, really just powerful, but they're easy to do. you,
Yeah.
you can just start, by little things. And the
Yeah.
journal is a great way, if you haven't started that, a gratitude journal of those 2 or 3 things that you're really thankful for in the night or first thing in the morning, to start your day off and really just appreciate um, that visualization of appreciation.
Yeah. And like I said, sometimes the weirder, the better. Because you never know, a year from now, you're going to read something and just fall out laughing because you're going to be right back there. And it doesn't take a lot of time. Somebody once challenged me, I don't have time to be gratitude. Blah, blah, blah. So the next day I filmed it. It took me 38 seconds to write date, good stuff, 1, 2, 3, and in less than on each, my favorite things. And I even put the timer on the video frame. It said 37, 38, and he's done. And it just goes to show how simple it is, but how many of us forget.
Mhm.
Or we say, I'll get to it later. I'll get to it. Well, I don't want to be 90 years old sitting on my front porch with a stack of regrets. I want to be 90 years old sitting on my front porch, smiling a mile wide because I left at least one situation a day better than I found it. That includes in here and in here.
Well, you do, Steve, and everybody that knows you knows how your heart is, and it's so wonderful just to have you in our inner circle and with the Everyday Leaders platform and everything that you bring. It really, it's like, how do you find that energy? But I think when you do it authentically and it's from your soul and all you're doing is showing up consistently, it's easy, right? And so people need to connect to you. I would love for people to look up your vision board, your vision mastery, to find out what that's about. Especially here we are in 2020, and we're trying to find a vision, right? We're trying to make a mess out of get all
Yeah.
through this, but it's really important. And you're one of those guys that makes it really simple and have a process for it. So I want to share your website again real quick here.
Mhm.
Um, so if you go to where am I here? Because I'm on a different screen. The Motivational Firewood guy. This is the website you're going to find. And there's a little video as you click through it. And I'm going to go back to this other screen so I can scroll through it. But if you look at this 3-minute video, it's an introduction and it'll take you through this kind of mastery video series. And talk to us a little bit about these steps, Steve, because as
Mhm.
I can scroll down here and kind of lead people through. I think these statistics are really amazing. So,
They are.
can you talk to us about this a little bit?
Yeah. That was actually a study from TD Bank a number of years ago with over 1,000 individuals and 500 small business owners talking about how they had used, if it wasn't a full-on vision board, at least had a picture or a vision or a collection of pictures about what they wanted to do in their businesses and their lives. And the statistics of how many of them actually realized a high percentage of their goals, or at least it kept them on track, the numbers are staggering.
Mhm.
So to kind of touch back too on what you said about having a simple process, I don't have a super secret formula, and you can always tell when I'm air quoting because I get really sarcastic. What I have is the Vision Board Mastery Program. It's a 10 module audio program, and some people think, oh my God, it's going to take days. If you add them all together, like back in the days of the CD, it all fit on one CD. All 10 modules added together come up to 74 minutes and 52 seconds of really good audio. Hit them fast, hit them hard, live in wanting more. We start with assessing where you are right now. And then we move toward where you wish your life to be, say, even a year from now, in 9 different areas of your life. Because some people say balance, I prefer to say integration.
Mhm.
The integration of all these things that are part of your life 24/7, 365, plus one in leap years, are all so important to be aware of. So we do assessments of where you are now, where you wish to be. We have a whole module dedicated to figuring out why you want what you want and connecting yourself emotionally to it in your gut so that you don't get knocked off your path with just the slightest breeze. We have some really fun, deep diving, brainstorming exercises as well that some people have said, oh my gosh, I haven't thought that much about my goals or my life in years. And then in module 7, we finally start to gather pictures. So it's not like a vision board party where you get together and slap stuff on a board. And then after that, we put the pictures in such a way that it tells the story of where you want to go, and then start to think about all the different people or skills or things you're going to have to do to get up that mountain, and then wrap it up with that. So it's this whole process that essentially with my voice, I'm holding your hand through the entire process.
Wow.
And it right around this time of the year, people say, "Oh, Steve, yeah, I'm going to a vision board party." And I go, "Oh my gosh." I actually launched a t-shirt line. On the back of the t-shirt, it says, "Friends don't let friends attend vision board parties."
Yes, I saw that.
It's hanging up on the wall over here. I used it in a video shoot earlier today, so it's still hanging out here in the studio. But it's something. It's like people that just set resolutions. Hey, you know what? I can't knock it. It's something.
Mm-hmm.
But what I feel, and I actually said this face to face with Jack Canfield, what I believe is the deepest diving, easiest to navigate, hold your hand, guide you through process to visualization that I've ever found. I mean, I couldn't find one, so I made it. It took me 3 years and over 200 hours in my recording studio to come up with 75 really good minutes of audio.
Wow. Powerful. Powerful. So if you're watching this and you're ready to do that, you need to go to the motivationalfirewood.com and look up Steve and investigate what this could look like for you. Because I really love Steve. I really celebrate him. I think, for somebody that inspires you to get to that next level, he's just one of those guys that you want to be connected to. So I celebrate you tonight, Steve, and everything that you are, because you bring joy to us. You make us grateful for the relationships, and we want to help all of our everyday leaders connect to those people that they can also add value to. So I appreciate you so much, and I know that you are changing the world because you impact everybody that you meet. And I just want to really thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on and sharing tonight.
And the feeling is very, very mutual. And if you put what you just said on a piece of paper and put macaroni and glitter around it, it would be hanging on my mom's fridge.
You're awesome.
And as are you. And this has been such a joy. And I know I've paid you this compliment before, but I'm going to pay it again. Our conversations are effortless. And I mean that in the best way possible. Because they're just so natural and so real. And I treasure them. I absolutely do.
Me too. Me too. Thank you for being an everyday leader and showing people what that's like to live this everyday life. I really appreciate you. And seriously, what's the one tip that you want people to go away with for the rest of the year?
It's, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, it's to leave at least one situation a day better than you found it. And that can be as simple as with social distancing. I get it. If you go to the store and you see a shopping carriage abandoned somewhere, either bring it into the corral or walk it all the way back to the store, because you go in there anyway, even if you don't need it. Just bring it back in. What you're doing is you're leaving a situation better than you found it. If you see somebody wearing a nice article of clothing, hey, I like your hat. Think of all the different ways. And it gets easier. At first, it's a little weird. But if you can leave one situation a day better than you found it, it's going to be addictive. I promise you that. And you're going to love how it makes you feel, and even know that you're leaving the world a better place every time you do it. But please do it at least once a day.
That's awesome. That's a challenge. All right, everybody, you heard it here. Steve Gamlin, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Please come back and join us in 2021 or whenever you'd like to. Keep
Anytime.
us updated on what's going on, okay?
Anytime. And I hope you have a very safe, happy, healthy holiday and enjoy all those leftovers as well.
Thank you. Don't eat too much.